welcome back to another episode of the Cinematic Trinity, where we talk movies, games and TV shows.
This week we're going to be talking about A Quiet Place, Day 1. Let's get into it. So there you go, we've done our theme for the week of whispering and staying quiet at the beginning, but obviously not going to keep that up because I think that whispering is actually not very good for your voice, apparently.
Well, it's not an ASMR channel that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I don't really like stuff like that anyway. I think whispering isn't actually a very nice sound, you know, if in that through a microphone in that context.
Yeah,
so hopefully it doesn't sound awful, but we shall see. But yes, we are talking about A Quiet Place. It's just me and you today, no Kieran, because he's got his own life and things to do, so he won't be joining us, but oh well. So should we start with non-spoiler
I think
bits
general thoughts,
and then we'll maybe talk some spoilers. So this is the third Quiet Place franchise film, is it?
Yeah, so third movie. It's a prequel to the first two movies, which are directed by John Krasinski and star him and Emily Blunt.
Yes.
So this is as the title implies, Quiet Place Day 1. So what happened the first day that the aliens came to Earth and obviously just kickstarted the events of the world going silent and going quiet. So basically it follows two new characters. They've not been in the movies before. It's Lupita
Nyong'o and
Joseph Quinn.
Okay, and what are their character names?
We only saw it last night. That's a thing, isn't it?
Oh god!
It's not really like they call each other, do they?
Because they're not speaking very much.
One of them's called Eric. That's Joseph Quinn.
Yes, Eric. And
I got the
what's
Wikipedia.
Her name?
I got the Wikipedia open.
Betty or
Betty? Did you say?
Yeah. Does it begin with a B?
Samira. I don't. I think in the context, really, it's not like they go, Samira, look out, or Eric, look out.
They're not saying each other's names all the time. Yeah. But yes, let's stick to the character names because then we both know them. So Samira and Eric.
Yeah.
I've already forgotten it. Yeah. So it follows. So it starts with Samira.
Yep.
I was about to say Lupita Nyong'o, not going very well.
Yeah.
So it starts with Samira. She is essentially, I don't think this is only the beginning of the film, just to set the scene. She's in a hospice. Mm-hmm. So she's on hospice care. She's got a carer with her, and they go out into the city to watch a show. She's clearly not, feeling very good about the fact that, she's coming towards the end of her life. So she's a bit not miserable, but she doesn't want to spend time with people. She just wants to do her own thing and just go and get pizza, essentially. So they go out into the city, and that's when, it all happens. That's sort of how it all kicks off. So you follow her, and then she ends up meeting this other character as well. And her cat. What's the cat called?
Frodo, yeah,
that's it. So the cat Frodo, and the cat goes through a lot in this film. Mm-hmm. It goes through a lot, and I was very, very surprised that the cat was, in it and went through all the things that it went through. I thought it was very surprising, maybe a little bit unrealistic, particularly for a cat.
The cat doesn't die. I know that's a kind of a spoiler, but the cat doesn't die. So if you're expecting to listen to this review and we go into detail of how it meets its demise, that's not the case. The cat does make it. It's just we'll get into the
it just goes
finer
through
details.
a lot.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, a lot.
But
all
of
stuff.
I could think about throughout the film was, if it was a dog, when we got in the car on the way back, we were talking about, if it was Delilah, our dog, that would she survive? But dogs bark, don't they? The first instinct Delilah would have would be to bark at this creature, and that'd be the end for her and for us, wouldn't it? So I don't know, but won't talk about that anymore because that's too sad. Don't even know why I brought it up.
So the general plot is basically it kind of follows what happened the first day. It's strictly, if I was to call it something, it's A Quiet Place Day 1 to 4, because it doesn't really focus on the behind the scenes.
Yeah, we still don't see. You are just still following a couple of characters. You're not getting them wider. And I said I'd love to watch a film in the Quiet Place universe, which is just from the government and the military perspective, because obviously you do see in the trailers that they're bombing all the bridges and stuff like that. So you think, because it all happens so quickly, what was the scramble in the background to get the message out there, and with and where are the bases set up and what is set up for people who do actually manage to escape the city and stuff like that. Like, I'd be really interested to see all that, but you still don't get any. It's just another story basically in the universe. But I mean, did you enjoy it? Like, did you
I thought I definitely prefer the first two more. I said, like, when we left the cinema, like, not like the idea, but sort of the novelty of the films is starting to wear off now. Because obviously it's pretty much a scene by scene is just like, oh, now we got to be quiet. Oh, wait, this thing's making noise. We've turned it off. And now I've made another noise. So I'm going to be killed by the monster. Or we'll be walking and then I'm going to step on some glass and it'll be like, oh, the tension's raised again.
Classic.
It's kind of meeting its end, I think, in terms of like keeping it being
fresh.
Scary, whereas like the first film has like some good moments, like, when like Emily Blunt's trying to give birth and obviously try and keep things quiet, but that's when they set like the fireworks off and you're kind of seeing this movie like ideas which have already been explored, like, it's raining, or there's like a source of noise that's louder than us talking, so we can talk.
We're no longer like learning with the characters. Particularly in that first film, like, you're learning how quiet you can be. Can you whisper? Can you not whisper? And then when it rains or when you whatever, like, that all like hides your noise. But we know all that already.
It's the same
so
as
there's
like,
not it's like as soon as it started raining, I was thinking, oh great, they can start talking now. But they didn't know that, so I knew more than them. So it was like, is this actually as tense because I know that they can just start talking and be fine, and the monster's not going to come right now.
And it's the same as like the monsters can't swim, because you find out in the second movie that they can't swim. So again, it kind of like takes in. There's no like big revelations, I think, about like the aliens or anything like that. There is like small stuff which we'll get into like in spoilers, but like I think as a whole, like, it doesn't do anything new really. I think still like the scenes that are in this, like where the monsters are, like, are still pretty, like, there's still some pretty intense scenes, and I like the bits where the aliens, like, if there's a big noise in the distance, they'll like stampede through the city, and that's cool.
That is really, really cool, and especially in the cinema. Definitely one to watch in the cinema anyway, just because, when you're at home and you're trying to be quiet and there's something really quiet on the telly, it's like, doesn't really have the same impact. So definitely say cinema. But absolutely, when they're like, there's a helicopter flying over and they're all like running and chasing after this helicopter, like, that is pretty awesome. I think that's a good word to use for it. Just with the sound and them all running and like all stuff like that. It's like, oh, this is like, that is quite scary. Like, you can imagine if you were there, you can put yourself there and think, oh my God, there's like a stampede, I'd be really scared.
Yeah, so I think like that kind of stuff was cool. Performance-wise, like, everyone did a good job. Like, Samira and like Eric were pretty good characters. Like, they had their own like little moments, like some nice. There's more like intimate stuff in this. Not like saying they have like a relationship or something, but there's more like,
thank God,
them bonding or like them talking and like trying to empathize with each other, which were quite nice. And then like, I think like, visually looked pretty cool. Like, there's no crap green screen or anything like that at all.
No, the effects are all very good, and still the effects of the monsters and stuff, because you don't really see them that much. I mean, obviously you don't see them up close as much. Like, I feel like especially in Quiet Place 2, or maybe in the first, I can't remember.
I still think you see quite a bit of them, to be fair.
You see a bit of them, but it's more like, there's loads of them. Like, you don't like see it up close. I don't know.
You definitely do.
I don't know. I just don't really like.
The thing.
I think I'm just not as scared of them was, and maybe that's why I don't think that they're there as much, because they're not having as much of an impact on screen for me, because I'm so used to seeing them.
I think that's like a thing, you get diminishing returns with each movie, because like the first one you don't see the monsters very much until the end, when obviously they kill one for the first time. And then like the second film, it's kind of like, oh, well, we've shown you the monster now, so now you can see it like all the time. And then in this film it's like, you see them you still see them quite a lot. It's not like there's this big mystery of, ooh, what's this monster?
No, it's not a Cloverfield or anything, it's...
No, so it's kind of like, oh, we know what the design is, we know how they have like these freaky like faces and stuff, like, that's it,
Yeah.
Open and shut case, there's no like
Yeah, because you do see like a close-up of its ear, essentially.
You see quite, you see like it like...
It goes close into its ear, but I've seen that already, so I wasn't like... ugh, that's gross, or oh my God, that's so weird. I was just like, that's just the monster. Yeah, that's just what it is.
No, so I think like that stuff, it's is kind of an average movie, especially compared to like the other ones. I think like there's just
I think a Quiet Place, particularly the first one. I mean, the second one I can kind of take it or leave it, but the first one it wasn't like revolutionary, but it was so fresh and so new. It was something so different that it was just really nice to see something a little bit different. But now it's, you know, the third iteration of it. It's like it's not fresh anymore. It's not new anymore. It is, you know, we know that there's a cash grab essentially.
You don't want it to turn into here it is, Quiet Place 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't need like another Saw franchise, you know. But at least with Saw, I don't know why I've liked those Saw films.
You haven't even finished them all yet.
I know, not even finished them all, but I really enjoyed them, and because all the traps are different, aren't they? You know, there's a bit of an overarching thing, and the continuity is really good. Blah blah blah. But there's different stuff, whereas in these films, like there's only so much you can do. You have to be quiet. You have to be whatever.
See, Delilah, this is why you're proving that you couldn't be in a quiet place, because you bark at anything.
Dead already, like straight away as soon as we saw. At least because we're, you know, not in the big city. You know, we're not in New York or London or anything.
Yeah, but we
probably wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, but you say that, but like John, the whole Quiet Place 2 is like that wasn't in the city. That was all like in rural.
Yeah, I know, but they could still have a pretty good life, couldn't they?
Yeah. I suppose, but. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't become like a fixed thing. I mean, they're doing a video game as well. Like, I remembered after we came out to see the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they're doing a game. So I watched the trailer for it.
I think that a game could be quite good, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's always standard, like, post-apocalyptic world, there's monsters, you know, stuff like that. But I think when you're in a game and you're experiencing it in that way, it can be a lot more, particularly with this horror genre. It gets you into it a lot more, so I think that does have quite a good opportunity for being good, you know.
Hopefully it could be good. Could be like another Alien, like Isolation, like again a stealth horror game, because you're not going to do big pulse pounding action in a quiet place, are you? Because it's just not possible. So yeah, it should be interesting whenever that comes out. I think it's this year or next year. That's what the trailer said when I watched it today anyway, like a teaser kind of trailer. So there'll probably be more news on that, I think, as it goes on. Yeah. So I think a few good moments. Again, we'll get into the more general bits of the story, and like I think that's where it falters for me, is the story. So we'll move on to that in a second. But in terms of like our rating system that we've got here, what I'm gonna do. No.
I'm happy to give it a score out of 10.
Okay.
Because I know that you love to give it a score out of 10.
Well,
so let's do that.
What I'll do as well is I'm going to do a handy little graphic at like the bottom of this video that has like the different tiers we've got.
Oh my god, you're promising a lot here, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
Be able to actually do
that.
Yeah,
I think so. So yeah, we'll give our scores out of 10, and then I'm going to do our little graphic. But what I'll do is it will have like the different categories we've got. It'll just put like our initial next to it, like where we think it's like T for you, and then M for me. Where does it land?
Can you not make it like an arrow, like a sliding?
Oh, I don't think I can do like an animation. I'm not that.
You just do a little arrow, point it, or like circle it.
Yeah. We'll see. You guys will be seeing this for the first time, so we don't even know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, the thing is, the trouble with you is you literally just say, it's like when we came up with the rating system, we're like, oh, we're going to use our new rating system. We hadn't even come up with it.
Yeah.
And we had to come up with it then.
This is Kieran's fault. I will always say it's Kieran's fault because Kieran can't give a score. He can't give a numerical score to a movie. He just has to go, it's all right, which is why I've had to come up with these different categories, whereas I could easily look at this movie and I could say, look, for me, it's a 7 out of 10. It's nothing. I was
going to say a 7.
Yeah.
But I feel like, we always give things a 7.
No, I don't.
Something's average is 7 is...
Yeah.
You know.
Well, 7, like, pushes it for me, like, average is like,
I was thinking between a 6 and a 7.
Yeah.
But I maybe got more... I did enjoy, even though, like, when I analyse it, it maybe pushes it down to a 6. But just for enjoyment,
I think I give it 7 just because of the creature stuff that's in here. I still think it's, like... That's pretty cool, and again, like performances and stuff.
Does that push it up for you? Because for me, I'm just not really bothered about that. I mean, there was like a couple of jump scares that I still jumped at, but I was honestly just not really frightened, or I don't. Really feel anything.
I'm not saying it scared me or anything, but it's just again like the stampede stuff and like the sound design there. I thought was interesting. So I'd say a 7 for me and a 7 for you.
Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic. But let's get into the deeper story details. So here is our spoiler section.
Spoilers ahead.
So yeah, what we're going to get out of the way first is...
Oh, what are you about to say?
Well, the plot armour of the cat was what I was going to do, because
Yeah,
you've
but
already
we've
touched
already
upon
spoiled
it.
the fact that the cat doesn't die, but I think that's important to know because that's all I was worrying about through the whole film,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
did in a way, and I said this in the car on the way back, it kind of ruined my enjoyment because I was so worried about the cat that I wasn't worried about the people in it, and even though I like cared a little bit, I wasn't like I was more worried about the cat. But I do think it doesn't meow or make any noise or anything throughout the entirety of the film, which is I think is a bit unreal. I don't know whether a cat can have a sense, and because it's kind of like it's her pet, she has it on a lead and a little harness, which is adorable, and she kind of walks it around and
It's
stuff.
a service animal.
Yeah, well, she says it's a service animal, but it might not be. I don't know.
But I think
if
it is like a support animal. I mean, she's like terminally ill, so I think it is genuinely like a service. I'd say it's like a support animal.
Yeah, an emotional support.
Yeah.
Cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but the cat it goes through a lot, and I think it is a bit unrealistic, and there's times that I wish the cat just wasn't there. Like particularly, there's a time when they're in the subway, but the subway's all flooded, so the cat they try and keep the cat above the water, but there's a time where it has to go under the water, and they're kind of like they're all like swept up and whatever and under the water, and I just think the cat just would not. I don't know, like would it? I don't know if it would for the amount of time that it's under the water. I just think that poor cat. I don't know whether
it basically
would have
gets put in like a bag, doesn't it? They put it in a bag and they get swept by current, and then they all come out afterwards, and Eric plonks the bag on the stone, and the cat just sort of gets out and it's like, oh, I'm a bit wet now. Oh, I'll run up. That's the thing. Yeah, it manufactured some conflict and some drama where I didn't really think it was needed, because there's points where the cat just runs off, obviously because it's scared. Like when this first kicks off, I think an explosion happens or something. The cat tries to run off. That's a pretty good scene. That bit works fine because it kind of runs out. It wants to get out of the theatre that they're all sheltering in, and then that's where they kind of get introduced to the monster for the first time, because it's there trying to claw at the door. It's like, oh no, I'll come back. It brushes past a bell, and then that's when the monster comes crashing in, and they're like, oh, it kind of starts to click, and it uses sound, kind of thing. So that was all right.
Yeah.
But then you get other moments where there's a bit where Eric goes to find medicine for Samira, because
classic trope.
Yeah, because she's obviously because she is terminally ill, she's on fentanyl patches, so her patches have worn off, so she needs more, or else she just can't walk because of the pain. So he goes to a pharmacy to find her, find the fentanyl basically. That goes fine, doesn't run into any issues. But then the cat, because at this point, this is after the subway, they go to this church area. That's where they're holding up with a bunch of other people. He goes to find the drugs. The cat just follows him. So then they go to a steel mill, I think, and the cat.
Well, they're just walking back. He's literally just walking back to the church, and the cat just goes yoink and just
cat
runs away.
Yeah,
basically.
So it runs off to this refinery or steel mill place. Goes up on top of a girder kind of thing, and lo and behold, they're actually in the middle of an alien nest as well. So it's great. Eric has to try and silently climb up this thing to go get this stupid cat to bring it back to the church. Where I was just the cat came into the church with you. Did you not just shut the door? It's not like the cat.
Yeah.
So that felt a bit off,
manufactured,
because they use the cat as well as an introduction between the characters, because it's not they're together at the beginning.
Samira, so they're at so they go out to see this show as a hospice basically. They all go out to see the show, all the residents, patients, whatever. And so they're all kind of holed up there. But Samira is, saying that she wants to go and get pizza. That's she's obsessed with going to get some pizza from this place. And she was saying that from the start of the film. That's why she agreed to go and see the show, because they would get pizza afterwards. Mm-hmm. And with that, it's I get it. All she wants is a slice of pizza. And it's nice that she's just thinking about, those things.
Well, it reminds her of her dad who died and stuff
Yeah, and we sort of learn that as we're going through. So that's kind of nice. But it's also you know, when people like that, it's just like annoying, you know, it's like,
yeah, it's like kind of
it's like this is,
it's
you
a
know,
bit, you feel a bit off like at the beginning because it's kind of like, what is this, like Quiet Place quest for pizza or something, like,
Yeah.
especially because like Eric joins her in this quest
Yeah.
to go find pizza, whereas like she's like, look, go save yourself, go and get on the boats, because they're like
Yeah.
rounding up everyone onto these boats. But he's like, oh no, I'll come with you and get pizza, because obviously it means so much to you, kind of thing. So yeah, that was a bit weird, but you get used to it, I think.
You do get used to it, yeah. You don't really, like, you kind of just think of whatever. That's
Yeah.
just kind of how the story moves forward, you know,
Yeah.
in this quest for pizza. But anyway, she's kind of there with her nurse, but the nurse ends up, you know, dying, obviously, because, you know, the lights go off, but one of the generators kick in, I think,
Yeah,
I'm
then
assuming it is,
yeah.
which obviously makes a lot of noise. He goes out to turn the generator off, the monster's there, kills him. So she just kind of decides to leave, and she just goes wandering off on her own. But they you know, an explosion or whatever, the monsters come again, and she's kind of separated from the cat at that point, and it's the cat that then finds Eric, you know,
He's in like
in
a
the
flooded.
water.
He's
in,
yeah,
like, in a flooded subway again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we already know at that point that the subway is flooded. And the cat goes back and manages to find Samira, and then Eric is kind of just following the cat. So that's how they're then
yeah.
introduced, which I think is fine. But it's at that point that they then go in the subway for the second time and stuff like that. And I think, you know, maybe the cat could have run off. She gets introduced to Eric in another way, and they go through some of the bits that the cat wouldn't have been able to survive, essentially, you know, bit in the subway and whatever. A few set pieces that the cat didn't have to be involved with, so that it seems a bit more realistic. And then maybe they run into the cat later on down the line. I think that would have been better. But we're talking about this cat
Well, no, because
so much. It's such a big part of the film.
Yeah, it does take you out of it a bit, because you're kind of like, this seems a bit far fetched, like how
For a cat.
yeah, because some bits make sense, like, you know, the cats don't. It's not they've got like soft feet, you know, like
So it can walk around.
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. But yeah, I say it'd be like things like meowing, or like it do something to make noise. It's not like they're like the quietest things ever. So I don't know. That felt a bit weird.
Yeah.
There's like another moment as well, because when we were talking about the aliens and like there's not much in the way of God, are you right?
I know, sorry, I can't stop yawning.
There's not much in the way of like big revelations, but there's a point in the steel mill where he's trying to find the cat, where you see like a big alien, like one of these massive ones.
It kind of looks like there's loads of eggs, and they start eating them as well. So
I looked at the wiki, like the Quiet Place wiki, because I was like, surely this has some answers as to what's happened here. But yeah, it basically just says, it looks like their food came with them, like on the asteroids, because they get like an egg and they like rip it apart, and then they start eating it, because they don't eat the people they kill. They just kill them because they're making noise.
So is that what they do? Because I was thinking, why do they just destroy everything that makes a noise? Is it painful for them?
Yeah. We think about the first two movies, it's like the deaf girl's hearing aid, like the static on that freaks them out, doesn't it? So I think it is purely
they're trying to get rid of anything.
Yeah, because it annoys them, or it like hurts them.
But if they're not eating anything, they're not eating the humans, and they need these eggs or whatever, their packed lunch. How are they surviving?
Well, it might be if it's like
plants.
It might be like plants, though. It might be like if it's like a nest situation, it could be like they keep growing or something. I don't know. But like that,
Interesting.
yeah. So that's there, and then they see like this massive one, because like he's up on like this girder with the cat, and then suddenly like a massive head pops up, and that's when you get the shot of the ear, and you're like, oh, what's this gonna? What's gonna happen here? Is this like the big bad? Like, is this gonna come back into it later? But it doesn't.
It just walks off.
Like, there's not even like a mid. We didn't stay for the credits, but I looked up afterwards. There's not like an end credit scene where it's like, here's the big one. What's gonna happen? But it doesn't even like. Doesn't come back into it, so you're a bit like, what is?
A bit like that is just pointless.
Like, I get I like in like where there is like alien horror, like, and there is like sequels, like them building on like the hierarchy, or like how do these work. It's the same with like, like I love the alien movies, and they'll be like, oh, there's actually a queen that lays eggs, and that's where the aliens come from. That's cool. But like here, it's like, what's the point of the big one? Like, is that a queen? Is it just like a big brute? Like what? Like we haven't seen it,
It's bigger,
because it's not like they went through an area in the world and they're like, oh, what's caused all this massive damage? Why is there a massive like hole here or something?
Yeah.
There was no like setup. It was kind of like, oh, here's a bigger than normal one.
Yeah, literally.
Think what you will.
I thought it was not interesting, but I was thinking in my own mind that he kind of like because they're feeding on these eggs, one of them calls the others over, essentially.
Yeah.
It makes a noise, and I thought, oh, I wonder if, like, you know, they should make, like, a bird call, you know, when you get those things, you make a bird call to attract the birds. Like, you could do that.
I thought of a better example than that.
What?
It's the end of Jurassic Park 3 when he's, when all the raptors combine, he's got the...
yeah.
You know, he's got their little, they made the vocal cords.
Yeah,
so it's him, like,
exactly.
Doing
Yeah, they should do that, but for
Yeah.
these creatures to kind of, like, lure them away.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
That's
all I
a good
remember.
idea.
I was like, oh, it's Velociraptors. That's what they're doing. It's just they're doing
Yeah.
the cool. They're doing Jurassic Park 3, especially because there's a guy called Eric in it.
Eric.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah. So I think, you know, again, it was an hour and 40. It's not like there's deep stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
get-
It was good film length, you know. I think
Yeah.
with horror films, it's only so long that you can
Yeah.
go, isn't there? So
So the movie ends with basically they get to where the boats are essentially. They have like they get pizza in the end. So they go to they go to the original pizza place that's burned down.
yeah,
So they go
and
get
that's
other pizza.
where, you know, you do learn a little bit more about the fact that, you know, her dad died, and, you know, her dad played piano, so they always used to go to this jazz bar, he'd play piano, and then they go and get pizza next door
Yeah.
at Patsy's. And I think that is nice. Like, it's nice moments between the two of them, and
Yeah.
I think that they have really nice, like, chemistry together, even
Yeah.
though they're not friends at the beginning.
No.
Like, and she's like, can you go away, please? Like, I'm gonna go and get, as we said, you go and save yourself. I'm not going to survive
Yeah.
anyway, so let me just, you know, go and see if I can get some pizza, and then I'm probably just gonna, you know, end it. So it's good that there's that kind of dynamic, and they're not
Yeah.
like, even though they like reliant on each other, they don't like they don't know that they're reliant on each other. You know, they don't know what they're each sort of
Yeah.
bringing to the table in their
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
dynamic and their relationship. So it is like interesting to see, and there's some really nice scenes in it, I think.
They kind of
Yeah.
So it ends with them like parting ways basically because she's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to make out of here basically. So, you know,
Yeah.
take the cat, take my jumper so you can remember me. You know.
Yeah.
Whether
pretty
I don't
much.
know whether that was like more remember me through my jumper or whether it was like so my cat remembers me kind of thing. Maybe
I
that's
don't
what they're going
know.
for.
Maybe
But
it's like a bit of both.
yeah,
you
so
know?
they go to the boat. She makes like a distraction. He runs for the boat, gets on, and basically he's safe because like the one of the guys on the boat was from the second movie, like in that community that Cillian Murphy goes to.
I wondered whether that was him.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, he's with that guy, so therefore he's going to be safe.
Yeah.
And then it
I
ends
wonder
with
what happens to him then if he's not in the second film.
well, they probably
Maybe
didn't think
dies.
that far ahead. I don't
Yeah.
even know if the cat was in the second movie. I didn't know if that would be like a callback, like they went to this community and the cat was there. But
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ends like Samira's story ends with she goes back to like her apartment. She has like these, you know, she finds a which to be fair felt weird, like a little iPod dock, you know, when you had the speaker docks.
Yeah.
Finds that, and then, you know, she's walking through the street listening to music, and then she basically lets herself be killed at the end by
Yeah.
unplugging her headphones so it plays the music.
You read it, she'd put in Eric's pocket of the jumper like a little letter saying, "Oh, you know, like thank you for being with me. You know, I've it's been great walking
You've
through
made me
the
live
city."
again.
Yeah, like, and she said it's been really nice walking through this and actually seeing the city again, like
Mm-hmm.
in that, because it must be like incredible, like if you're in I know that it's all like damaged because of the monsters and everything, but if you've been living in New York and it's obviously just chaos, and then you're like the only person there wandering around the streets by yourself with your headphones in, like I bet that is a really like fantastic feeling. So she's
Yeah.
probably had just like probably like the best moment of her life,
Yeah.
and then was just like and then just played the music and just let the monsters take her, which
Yeah.
I knew that she was going to do that, or I was expecting her to do that, because I was thinking if I was in her position I'd probably do exactly the same, just let
Yeah.
the monsters create a distraction to save somebody else, let the monsters get me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think that was what I was expecting, so I think that was a nice ending for her
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a weird way.
Yeah, so a good mini story kind of thing, like in this world. I think again some bits are laid down is probably just the convenience of the the cat's like plot armor, and
Yeah.
sometimes it does just manufacture scenarios which otherwise they probably wouldn't have been in, if you see what I mean. So that kind of lets it down.
I do think it is the cat that lets it down. I think because everything that I've kind of just described, I thought, yeah, actually that was quite nice, like between the two of them. But the fact that that cat is always there,
it's kind of that, and then sometimes the film does really slow down when it's like the two of them. Like there's not a good balance kind of thing. It's either like here's a long like intense scene with monsters, or here's a long subtle scene where it's just them talking. Like the bit in the apartment was fine, like when they first like go to her apartment and it's like the thunderstorm, so they have like a bit of like a therapeutic like screaming session because of, you know, during the thunderclaps and stuff,
and the rain and stuff.
So that was nice. But then you get like you get the scene in the jazz club, which again, that's fine. That kind of maybe went on a bit too long for me, because I was expecting something to go wrong, like some noise to be made, but no, it kind of just.
But I think it is good that, you know, not every single thing ended in them, you know.
No.
Eaten,
yeah, I think it just needed a better balance between long slow moment and then long action. Because it's not like a great deal of like major action, because obviously it's not like they kill the monsters or anything just because they don't know that they can at this point, which makes sense.
Yeah, it just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, but I think I mean the cat and some just pacing doesn't work
some
for me.
pacing, and just the fact that it's not a new like thing anymore. I think I'm just very apathetic to the whole universe. I think at the moment it's not very. It wasn't very fresh. Like it wasn't a fresh take on it. It just was another story within that same world, which kind of so happened to follow similar to the other stories. You know.
Yeah, but I certainly say go watch it.
Yeah, I think especially if you do like the you know, A Quiet Place, you know, the first two films, then I think you will like it.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at it from, you know, a review perspective, like it's different, isn't it? But no, it's enjoyable. It is a good film.
Yeah.
I think if there's another one, then I probably won't bother.
Yeah, maybe you'll see a review for the game whenever that comes out.
You never know.
Hopefully that can be good, as I said before. But
there's nothing else coming out, so you may as well.
I think be very careful with how you take the franchise forward. Like, maybe do just like leave it for a bit. I don't know when. God, when did part 2 come out during COVID?
I think so.
Because it's probably
went to see it together, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's been a fair while since like between films, because the first one came out in 2018. I don't know when the second one came out, and then obviously we've got this one. So at least it's not been like a yearly thing, so there has been like some gaps between them. But I think be very careful.
The time just goes by so quickly, especially the last few years.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like any time at all. So.
Yeah, so I think do be careful. Like, don't just crank these films out.
Don't ruin it. Like, I think they're in the danger zone now of ruining it and it being like a proper franchise. Yeah. You know, like the Saw films or whatever.
Yeah, I think either do maybe like another film where it's like the military, and that could almost be like a prequel thing, or you do like a final chapter kind of thing, because like the second film does end with her using like her hearing aids to, you know, transmit the signal so they can actually like fight the monsters a bit, because then like the mum kills one and the kid kills one. So there's like a whole thing,
like
isn't there?
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, is there going to be like a movie where it is basically them just clearing all the aliens out kind of thing, and there's going to be maybe that's where the big ones come into, like, these guys aren't affected by the hearing aid signal or something like that. So maybe you'll see that. But I think don't do too many more. Maybe just do another prequel, and maybe just like a final chapter to cap it all off. Don't just be in like, A Quiet Place Day 600 or A Quiet Place Electric Boogaloo, you know.
God, what is it with you and
Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, every
just
time
a funny.
You go with the sequel, you keep saying that. Where did that come from?
It's just the thing. I think other people say it, so it's not. I'm not
but
coining
that's
that phrase.
The second week, or like you keep saying.
Well,
that's no more now. You're not allowed to say anything
until the next time.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo. You're not allowed to do that again now. You've got to come up with something else.
Well, I'm sorry. A Quiet Place Day 1. Have you seen it? What did you guys think? Hopefully you've enjoyed this review. Sorry we haven't been whispering the whole time, so we would well and truly be gotten by the monsters by now. I feel like we wouldn't be able to do any podcast, really, would you?
Well, I think then that's the last thing that'd be on. Oh no, the world's ending. We can't do the podcast
I can't listen
anymore.
I can't listen to the Joe Rogan Experience.
You don't listen to that anyway.
No, I don't. I don't listen to the PlayStation Access podcast.
Yeah. Do you actually?
Don't know, Weekly Planet?
We listen to the Weekly
Our
Planet,
friends at the
don't we?
Weekly Planet?
Oh, yes.
That'll be the day.
Our friends at the
Yeah.
Weekly Planet. Yes.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been it for this week anyway. I hope you guys have enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we will see you
Next time, whenever that may be.
Yeah.
No promises to be
next
made.
time, wherever that may be. I am the king of the Dancetti.
For God's sake.
That's a weird tangent, but that's...
Let's just end this now.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in the next episode. In the meantime, I've been Michael.
And I've been Tulip.